Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and very welcome guests. This is my speech number 10. I am so excited. I would have been more excited if I had my PowerPoint, which is the sneaky way to get around needing notes or not needing notes. Who knows who Dale Carnegie is? Could someone please, Carl, enlighten me as to what Dale Carnegie wrote?
Well, specifically what he wrote, I can't give you the exact words, but he basically motivated people to become better speakers and better leaders, but for a much greater expense than we do in Toastmasters.
Thank you. Yes. Do you remember the book?
How to win friends and influence people.
How to win friends and influence people. That was not a trick question for Carl. It was actually a way to get us to all understand, for those of us that don't know, that he was a very, very powerful speaker. And when he began, he was extremely inexpensive. I'm so glad Carl brought that up. Dale Carnegie was a poor, poverty-stricken, miserable young man financially. Inside, he was going to own the world. He wasn't sure how he was going to do that. With that, he prayed to go to college, leave that darn Missouri farmland behind. Couldn't do it. His father lost his farm. And goodness gracious, guess what? The new place they moved was right next to a teacher's college. He couldn't afford it. So he went and he worked in the fields and sold strawberries to pay for his college education. To get more information and to be better, he decided, well, athletics would do it. Then it turned out he realized he was a terrible athlete. So what to do? Dale didn't give up. Dale had courage. And he had the confidence that he was going to not be a farmer. He wasn't going to be in that position of poverty and lose his farm like his dad did. They had a speech debate competition on campus. What the heck? He went out and he tried for that. And he discovered his talent. He was so good at it that he began to teach the others in his group how to speak. They all went out in the fields and the farm because he was still picking strawberries, and they got on big bales of hay, and they climbed up, and he spoke with confidence in that powerful body language we used last week, and he spoke to the fields, he spoke to the people, he got them motivated. And sure enough, they all did better. They won competition after competition. Then college is over. He had no career. He went out and became a salesperson. He did rather well. He did terribly well. He did wonderfully well. Still wasn't what he wanted to do. He ends up back east still. Decides, I'm in New York. I can speak. That's what I want to do. So he became an actor. He was that kind of actor. He was gosh awful. Poor baby. But nonetheless, he decided that, okay, now I have no place to live. I'm not going back to the farm. I guess I'm going to have to take my bag and end up at the YMCA, which our first Toastmasters did as well. So that's a little thing. In 1905, our first Toastmasters began at a YMCA back east. Well, Dale Carnegie's doing this in 1911. He's at the YMCA, he's got no place to live, and that's where he sets up shop. And he asked them, would you mind if I paid my rent by giving speaking lessons to businessmen? Because he realized that businessmen, please don't be offended ladies, there weren't many business women, businessmen were not doing as well as they had hoped because they were so darn afraid of this little thing called public speaking. So Dale Carnegie made a deal with the YMCA for $2 a day he would be paid. And they said, you're not worth it. You're not worth it. So he said, okay, how about I take the house? I take a percentage. Within no time at all, Dale Carnegie was making $30 a day. $30 a day. Big time. He was so excited. So Dale Carnegie never gave up. And one of the first things he did is he realized, I have to teach people to overcome that terrible fear of public speaking. And he realized before the words even came out that there were two different kinds of stress. Stress and eustress, which is that thing that's going to motivate me to just keep on going. Everybody stand up if you can. If you can't, stay in your seat. But if you can stand up, please do so. I want you all to stress your body as hard as you possibly can and make an ugly face while you're at it. If you put that in face to face, just saying. This is what it's like. I mean, your whole body. I mean, come on, I don't see that. I see smile. I want to see tears. I see your hind end tight, miserable. Now, casually, peacefully sit down. And don't take a deep breath in. No. Dale didn't tell you to take deep breaths in. He wanted you to give a deep breath and do it now. Out. Your body's going to say, hey, wait a minute, I need to breathe. And it will do so naturally. So when your lungs fill back up, it's going to do so naturally. That's what he began to teach people. When you get up here, don't sit here and have your breath come out as if you're a gasping fish about to die in the water, which is what most of us feel like when we begin our speaking. Do it like that. Think, I'm going to deeply exhale and let my body naturally inhale. Dale Carnegie had courage. He said, as Yoda would later say, do or do not. There is no try. You don't try to quit smoking. You don't try to lose 10 pounds. You fail. You're either going to quit smoking, you're going to lose 10 pounds, you're going to get up and speak. There's no try. Come to dinner next week. Oh, I'll try. I'm not setting out a plate for you. Just saying. Because that is code for I'm not going to come. And if you do show up, well, I hope you brought pizza or something. I didn't set a plate for you. Because your response is, I'll be there. Do or do not. There is no try. Breathing. We practiced a little bit there. Dale taught us that breathing does not come naturally, as we just stated. Breathing, if you are thinking big, you need to breathe bigger. I have a little trouble getting to the end of the room. I need to open up my diaphragm more and get back to the back of the room. I have people constantly telling me that I'm not heard at the back of the room. So working on that diaphragm to get to where I need to be. And it has to do with your audience. Do you have a little audience? Well, you don't want to scream at them. So you're using the little voice that I'm comfortable with. But when you are in a bigger room, you have to expand that. Diaphragm is moving out further and further, and you're breathing for that. You're breathing to get out there, to the back of that room. Jack needs to hear exactly what I'm saying. Ian needs to hear what my message is. Those of us who are hard of hearing need to hear what we're saying. Breathing. There's tongue exercises. There are pronunciations that go on that we mess up all the time. I was so happy that our dear Carrie came in and said, romance. That's how you pronounce romance. We often say romance. That is not correct. Dale Carnegie, for instance, had fun with his language and even his name. This is how he was born, Dale Carnegie. He wanted to teach at a huge level and get richer and richer, so he changed his spelling to Carnegie. And he didn't tell people he was a relative of the great, famous, wealthy Andrew Carnegie. He just let people assume so, and then he rented Carnegie Hall. We already covered stress and eustress, we don't have to do that. But here's some that I think are interesting. These are things we mess up. Aunt versus aunt. This is the correct way. This is the correct way. So not English speakers, which most of us aren't. It's aunt, not aunt. There's plenty of things in this book. As I discussed earlier, Dale Carnegie wrote a lot of books. This is my Bible. This is the book he wrote in 1912. These sticky notes are my legitimate notes. So please take this into account. Buy this book, hold it dear, make it your Bible. It teaches you how to breathe, speak, pronounce words correctly. Dale Carnegie is your teacher. Please remember, you are our leaders. You are the people who will go out, and today I want to inspire you to say and do the right thing in the exciting way that I know you can.
No longer an almost confident speaker. It is my honor to get to award this to you. We started at the same time, and Jack, the Three Musketeers. A ribbon for when you reach competent communicator. Kyle, great job.
And thank you, Kyle. I must congratulate you at the outset for not being ruffled and being able to perform, as can happen to any public speaker in any venue or setting, when her PowerPoint, which I'm sorry we missed, was unavailable. She absolutely, number 10's Inspire Your Audience talk, it says no notes. And she did it virtually with no notes by memory, without the shield of a PowerPoint presentation, which we all use, which I am technically dependent on. Your number 10 speech, you're supposed to motivate and improve the audience. Number 10, you're supposed to motivate and uplift the audience personally, professionally, spiritually, using emotion. And she did that to plethora of stars, little gold stars that I wouldn't have put on her paper. Her opener about who was Dale Carnegie, you're supposed to select an occasion. Well, we were the occasion, a Toastmasters club, but you're supposed to have a topic that relates to them, and she couldn't have had a more important topic, especially for the new members here. So Dale Carnegie, and then asking us, well, we all know it was this guy that said we should succeed, but somebody pulled up the correct title of the original book. Her vocal variety was superlative. You're supposed to use in number 10 all the skills we learned in speeches 1 to 9. And she even used that as an example later on about reaching someone in the back of the room versus in a large audience versus speaking up closely. The one thing I would suggest, and I have a few nitpicks for later, was you could have done something and spoken really softly and done in the vocal variety. The hand and body expressions are fantastic, including your bow to the Toastmasters at the end and lifting your hand. You pulled us along emotionally with the story of him being a farm boy and then trying to be an athlete and then finally ending up at the Y in New York City and offering them the trade to speak in businessmen. There was a nitpick about language in there. You said isn't that a little thing? And I think you meant a coincidence that Toastmasters started at the Y and this was there. You called it a thing, a nitpick only. the examples you used of $30 a day he made in 1911, I might have liked, just a suggestion, a comparison, that would be $250 a day in 2016 terms. And I would have repeated the year when you mentioned something about money later, that it was 1911, and I think you did, then you said 1912 was the book. The example of getting us all stressed and standing up and then having us breathe gently, and then when you demonstrated the breathing gently, I wanted to take your yoga class or meditation class. I was totally motivated. Your expressions, you had several asides that were wonderful about Toastmasters in general, like a gasping fish out of water when we're speaking before groups. Fabulous asides that related directly to the audience, and I don't know if you did those spontaneously or you did not. Kyle asked me to look to see if she smiled, and she's smiling now, and she's got a beautiful smile. And I don't think you had to work on that in this speech. You were really doing it well. Your timing was a little off, but you managed it well. You had more vocabulary to use, and you did only one. It just made us rush your ending. So I'm honored. You're a competent communicator. Thank you.